Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be telling you the truth about Saberforge. As you guys know, Dylan and I both have Saberforge Apprentice Sabers. He has the Saberforge Chosen, and I have the Saberforge Bastion. We both have them in Champion tier, but mine is in Sabercore 2.5, and Dylan's is in Sabercore 3.0. Before this video actually starts, I just want to clarify that this is not at all a video ranting against Saberforge. It's not to discourage you from buying from them. This is just a video purely to inform you guys of problems that we've had and of what to expect if you're buying from them. So keep that in mind as you watch this video. So in this video, we're going to be telling you pretty much our story with Saberforge and what our opinion on the company is, and what pretty much has happened since we bought these sabers, and the process of buying them, and how well they've held up in our day-to-day dueling, just playing around with them. So for my saber, I got this about a year ago, and this is in, as you can probably see, Sabercore 2.5 in purple. So this is still working, as you can see, and it's in pretty good condition as far as the hilt goes, but I do have a few issues with it. As you can see right here, the charging port is actually coming out of the saber. So this, I would say it's just not sufficient gluing. This part held up for, I'd say, a few months before it started wiggling out, and it's just been like this ever since. I have sent it back to the company because somehow the wires in here started crossing, and it would just play the boot up sound over and over. So I have the charger right here. I would pretty much just do this over and over whenever I would try to activate the saber. So I sent the saber back for that, and it came back. It had a new charging port, and it was all good until then again it started coming out. So if you're buying a Saberforge saber, keep in mind that if you have a charging port, it might come out. I'm not sure what the deal is for Sabercore 3.0, but the 2.5 charging port definitely does tend to come out. You could glue it back in with a super glue or hot glue, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet, and to be honest, I'm kind of scared of doing that. I don't want to get glue all over my saber, and I don't really want to glue it in and then not be able to get it out to fix something. Other than that, the AV switch is actually coming out a tiny bit. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it jiggles around sometimes, and if you're dueling and you get your nail under that, it'll just pop out sometimes. I have it pretty snugly in here, but that also gets a bit annoying. Another thing with the saber itself that I realized is that since getting it, you can actually see on the blade the retention screw marks were first up here, and gradually they went down to this point actually. So actually, as I've been using this, the LED actually has been pushed down a little bit. So if you look, you can see one of the retention screw marks. So actually, before, on the first few months that I got this, I actually had the LED, it was a little bit farther upwards. So I think maybe the retention screw came loose once, and the LED jiggled down a little bit while we were dueling. But that's definitely a thing to note that I noticed. So yeah, don't undo your retention screw, and yeah, definitely don't mess with any screws other than this. And if you want to swap off the cover tech, you can unscrew this to swap it out, but don't mess with the LED retention screw. So that's all I have to say about the hilt itself. But another thing that has been an issue is the blades. This is the V4 Infinity Edge blade, and I got this with a saber. This is before they started making the rounded tips. So this is the bullet tip. And the first thing that happened was the hot glue that was on the inside actually came out, and the diffusing material actually slides out. So I've had to re-roll that, take it out and re-roll it multiple times, because it gets a little bit like clogged up right there in this part. So I've had to take it out, re-roll it, and then put it back in, which is really annoying. And then recently, a few weeks ago, me and Dylan were dueling, and my tip actually broke off. So these, you can probably see it. Saberforge has threaded tips, so that's glued in there, and it's also screwed in there. But what actually happened with my saber is the threading actually broke off of the actual tip. So the threading was still secure in there, but the tip broke off of it. So that was really annoying. You can kind of see I glued it back on, but it's a little bit wonky. I just used hot glue. It's a little bit crooked. It's definitely not threaded in there. It's probably going to come off again, which I'm not very happy about. But for what this blade has been through, I'm not too surprised, but I'm not impressed. So when I bought this, I actually bought a day blade to go along with it, and this I've actually been pretty impressed with. The filament has not come out, as you can see. The glue is still there. The tip is still on there, very well. And it's probably just because I haven't dueled with this one as much. I usually use my V4 Infinity Edge, but this is definitely in a lot better shape, and I will probably use that as my main dueling blade now. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is, as the saber goes down in battery, the color actually changes. So here, I'm gonna ignite it. This is with a good charge, and this is, I'd say in person, a light purple. So I'd say this is a little bit more light than it usually is, but after a big charge, it actually does seem a bit more blue, I've noticed. And on camera, actually, it does look a lot more blue than it actually is. But it does have a slight blue color to it. And that's what happens after a very long night of charging. But actually what happens, as it gets low on battery, it actually starts changing more to a red color. So if your battery's really low, your saber is almost red, which I find very weird, and I'm not sure if I like it, but that's just what happens, for me at least. But that's another little, I'd say, defect, maybe, a bug in the system. But what actually also happens is when it gets really low on battery, it actually starts playing the boot up sound, as I said earlier, like what happened when I returned it. But it starts playing the boot up sound over and over when I try to activate it, and then eventually it just shuts off. So for the last like 15 minutes before it actually dies, you can't use it because it's just doing that. So this ends my segment of the video. Dylan's gonna now do a part about his experience with Saberforge and his Saberforge Chosen, so stay tuned for that.
Hey guys, Dylan here, and this is going to be my segment talking about my experience with Saberforge and getting my Saberforge Chosen. Just to go over some of the basics, this is in the champion tier like Jake said earlier. I have it in solid green with the Saber Core 3.0 soundboard. Now, I'm not going to do an in-depth review, obviously. We have separate reviews of each of our sabers, so just go, watch those. I can put the links of both of them in the description. So let's get into my story with Saberforge. So the first thing I want to mention is that obviously I have the Saberforge Chosen. I have my, Infinity Edge Blade, and then I also have my green Day Blade, which I ordered before I got the saber. Now, since I got it before the saber, I got it with the bullet tip. So when Jake got his saber, he got it when Saberforge wasn't as popular, the 2.5, and also the bullet-tipped blades, but now the Infinity Edge blade has the rounded tip. Now, I guess just to go over it real quick, my saber doesn't look too great around here. This is the rounded tip. Now, I know Jake earlier mentioned that we were dueling and his tip broke off. Well, when I hit it, my whole saber from all along here had a huge internal crack, and after about 2 or 3 weeks later, from continuous use of my saber and the Infinity Edge blade, it just snapped off, and this is, I think, the second or third time in the past 2 or 3 weeks after, so it's that I've had to glue this part back on. So now let's get into my story. So Jake got his Saberforge Bastion, and I was like, oh, this is a really cool lightsaber. I've never seen him prop this good, or it's not even a toy at this point. It's like, this is metal. This is, I almost said aluminum. I can't even say how the British say it. Aluminum. And I was just really psyched about it. And after about, let's say, 6 months after Jake got his saber, I decided to get one for myself. So I ordered one. To let you know, they are, the one I got at most was $385. Now, Jake got his saber when it was on sale, so I think it was around $345 or $350, but that's not much of a big price difference. They do charge $25 shipping, so that's pretty annoying. I'm not sure how much the price differentiates for shipping depending on where you live. I'm not necessarily going to say where I live, but I'm still in the United States, and that is where the Saberforge, I guess, headquarters is located. So I ordered this saber. Let's say I officially ordered the saber about a year ago, and I ordered it, and they said, like, thank you for purchasing your saber, and it will be there at your house or home in 2 to 4 months. And 2 to 4 months went by, and then I think after 2 months they sent us another email saying that they estimate it to be 4 to 6 weeks, not 2 to 4. Or I mean, not weeks, months. Sorry. Instead of 2 to 4 months, it was 4 to 6 months. So that was a bit of a bummer. And then, long story short, because I don't want to go into too in depth into this, but also because I don't want to give out too much like personal information and stuff like that. It had been about 9 months until I finally acquired my saber, and we were pretty, mad and kind of triggered about that. But we got it, and I was really happy. I unboxed it out of the box, and I went, and I was like, oh, well, this is great. I'm so happy that I have this saber. And then, about 3, maybe 4 hours after I got the saber, you can see right here, this is the charging port, and right in here, above my fingertip, is the inside, and let me just quickly get out the charger. Sorry, I have another bag. I just, I plugged it in, and it was stuck in a little tightly, and when I pulled it out, I always do it lightly now because the inside of this charging port got pulled out, and the charging port was broken, and then it ran out of batteries, and we thought it was just very broken, but it really just was because of the fact that the charging port needed to be fixed. But still, that was a big bummer because we basically thought we literally broke the saber in the first 4 hours of using it. So we ended up having to put the little piece back in and send it back to them. And it was about 2.5 months, 3 months later that they sent it back to us. And since then, it has worked fine. After about a day, or no, I would say 3 to 4 days after using it. If you don't know, the Saber Core 3.0 soundboard includes 3 sound fonts. it doesn't include an on saber menu because of the multiple sound fonts. But if I do this right now,
Ranger's Blade.
So Ranger's Blade is one of them. The Master.
Heirloom.
And Heirloom is the one I always use. Now this is what Heirloom sounds like right now, in case you don't know. Alright, so that's the ignition. Now let me just power it down. Now I switch to Ranger's Blade. Let me activate this one. Now if you didn't notice, that was the exact same ignition as Heirloom. And this is the reoccurring problem with the sound fonts on my saber, is that it, for some reason, is only playing Heirloom. Now, I've researched it on the internet, and multiple people have said that they have this problem, and it's just a defect with the fact that it's so new, the Sabercore 3.0. So, there's really not much I can do about that. I could send it back and have them try and fix it, but after about literally over a year of waiting for this and actually having it now, I'm just not going to send it back because it still works. Something I have yet to do is, go onto the onboard menu on my computer and delete the Heirloom sound font so that it can't play the Heirloom sound font if it isn't on the saber. So if that like you get what I mean, right? That wouldn't make any sense. Alright, this is getting a little long, so all I'm going to go over are the quick things that actually are a little messed up with the hilt. Alright, now let me really quickly take out this Allen wrench to see if I can show you. My AV switch, just like Jake's charging port was popping out, mine can't do that because it is actually all metal, aluminum, or aluminium, as some people say. And just the inside right here is what possibly could come out, but it's not supposed to. Now, let me see. Oh, yep, already happened. So, my charging port is starting to pop out. And if I pull a little more, you can't see it from here, but I can feel the tension of wires. And I really don't want to pull this a lot. I just need to get some super glue and just... Oh, that's not what I meant to do, sorry. Just push that in. And it's actually been good, really, if you just keep it like that. Oh, sorry about that. Alright, the best part, guys, I made this and forgot to include this, so I just want to show you real quick, or tell you, is that when we sent my saber back, because the charging port had come out, they said they shipped it out, and about a few days later, they sent us an email saying that, congratulations, you have achieved your saber. You have that makes no sense. They said that the saber was at its destination, and we sent them an email saying, well, you didn't tell us where it went, and we don't have it. Could you send us the info about like where the destination was? And about 4 or 5 days later, they sent us a thing saying your saber has arrived in Puerto Rico. So just so you know, I'm not going to tell you, again, necessarily where we live, but
I don't frickin' live in Puerto Rico. Like, what?
Well, that kind of does it for our stories with Saberforge. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what do you want us to build next or do a review of.
Or really anything. Again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. I know this one was kind of long, but we wanted to get you all the info and all the details of our stories. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, happy building.